Hermvel walked his horse into the salvage yard without holding the reins, using one hand to massage the other shoulder instead. Up ahead, amongst a pile of sheet metal and tangled wires, Madbor planted one foot on a circuit board and pulled at a tiny fragment of sky metal with a pair of pliers. The chip popped free, sending the old dwarf toppling over backwards and setting off a cascade of scrap falling every which way. Herm muttered something under his breath and cast a quick spell, deflecting a few pieces of falling wreckage away from his friend. It didn't save him from every bump and bruise, but probably helped. When the dwarf finally got to his feet, precious chip in hand, he looked over at the middle-aged man with an embarrassed smile.
"If it isn't the wild wizard in the flesh."
"No one calls me that, Madbor, and I'm far from a wizard. What meager talents I have come quite naturally." Madbor spit on the ground.
"If you can call me Madbor, even though I'm neither mad nor a pig of any kind, I can call you a wild wizard."
"The key difference, old friend, is that you know my birth name. If you want to tell me yours, I'd be happy to use it." Madbor frowned, staring into the middle distance for several seconds in silence. He squinted and furrowed his brow.
"Never mind that. I never liked it anyway. What have you got for me?"
Letting a slight chuckle out, Hermvel undid the straps from one saddlebag, revealing a pouch full of mangled robot parts. "Mostly your usual scrap. Looks like it used to be one of those oversized Gearmans, the ones with the thicker armor plating. I've got a power core in the other bag."
"Functional?"
"No, not this time. Maybe with some TLC and a real wizard, you might be able to get it up and running." Madbor frowned and grabbed a thick, twisted chunk of metal that looked like it used to be most of a robotic bicep from the bag. He hefted its weight.
"Oh well, always worth asking. Why don't you help me get this out of sight, then we'll figure out a fair price. The shade's everywhere these days. I'd rather she not confiscate the stuff before I've even had a chance to look at it."
This is Pot Against the Machine.
Pot Against the Machine. Against the Machine.
Welcome back to Pot Against the Machine, the only Pathfinder actual play with a long and storied history of spooky potatoes. I'm your host, and here's everybody.
Ooh.
They're frightening.
Nice.
Thanks.
That was better than my ghost sound. That
Your
was
best spuds.
similar. Aw.
Cool.
Potatoes have eyes,
Much like the hills.
much like the hills. Hey.
Last week on the program, it was Tarazi's first day of work for the Shade. So we got a little bit of a day in the life of a villain, following him around town as he got friendship bracelets from his new friends, did some workouts, and hustled and shook down shopkeepers and guild leaders and stuff for money. While the party tried to figure out how to track him. They tried using a magic spell to establish psychic communication, but he refused it because he is evil now. So they wound up using locate creature to basically just have Brixby pointing at him for as long as they possibly could over the course of the day. Eventually, that day led Tarazi and company up to the Technic League compound, where the Shade, after taking a call from a mysterious individual with an accent Tarazi couldn't place, went into the facility, dropped her retinue off in her quarters, and then disappeared for half an hour or so. And she came back, everything was fine, but the business was taken care of. And, one little note. The Shade was asking Tarazi rather pointedly about the spellcaster that Tarazi had been with the other day. how to get in contact with this mysterious short Asimar who was clearly quite skilled. Maybe how to find the Asimar. Maybe would the Asimar come running if Tarazi was screaming in pain, just as a for instance, just to throw that out there. No drastic measures were taken, but she definitely seems to be interested in old Brixbow. So I think we left things at the end of the trip to the Technic League compound. We're going to jump over to the other side of the party, who has spent a lot of the day, I think, tracking their buddy. And what's going on with Alwyn, Kira, and Brixby?
Kira's pretty bored of following Tarazi around and wants to see some action. Ideally the good kind and not the kind where Tarazi ends up doing. So, I think she will say as much. How long until we pull him out? I think this is going to just get more dangerous and we don't know anything and maybe there's no point in doing this and we should all just break in and rescue Vargas.
I think we should pull him out tonight. I can't imagine that there's too much to be gleaned. Proportionate to the period of time that he would probably have to climb the ranks to learn anything of serious import. At the same time, we're risking an exponential amount of peril should they discover who he is or who we are. I say we try to make contact with him in the barracks when he gets back, but we should probably not be this close to the compound. If he doesn't return from here, then we will go inside and we will find him.
Well, how will we know if he doesn't want to be found?
If he spends the night inside of the technically compound, well,
First, I kind of want to get into the rules minutia of, like, does locate creature work on a corpse? It's morbid, but I do need to know.
Interesting. Let me pull up locate creature.
Because I know it's not the same as there's, like, life link or life sense or some sort of, like, you can have, like, a connection with other members of your party and know when they're down and stuff like that. Maybe even know their health, but I don't know.
I think because of the last or the second to last sentence of the spell, it cannot detect objects, and I believe a corpse is no longer considered a creature; it's an object. So, locate creature, I don't think can find a dead body.
well, I will inevitably run out of these, even with devoting most of my magical reservoirs towards them today. This spell won't work if he isn't alive. Not to be too frank, but it's a good way of knowing. We don't necessarily have the same assurance about Vargas. He just kind of looks at the ground in front of the Technic League. Just thinking, like, how many layers down he is. But now, we pose the biggest risk to Tarazi by being present. We have to let him take this risk. We've done too much. I was going to say enough, but really too much. I tried to cast a spell on him that would have put him in danger because I was too focused on holding on to him. And that comes from losing people. But there's a difference between losing somebody and letting them go on their own.
We have to trust that Tarazi is able to get out on his own if he has to. I agree that extracting him is a good idea, but I also think we shouldn't be too worried. He was on his own for a long time before he met up with us, and he's very powerful. I think if push came to shove, he could escape on his own.
But he doesn't have Levi anymore.
But
And I can say this as the player as well. There is
no better motivation than a dog to come home to. So I'm quite sure that Rusty is motivating him in his own way, aiding him. We need to go back. We need to consider how we could be using our time more wisely, but I think this evening, save a casting or two of this, if he's not back at the barracks, then we can start talking about different approaches. If he is there, then we'll figure out a way to get a hold of him. Ding dong ditch them, and then somehow go in the back. An elaborate scheme, proportionate to my intelligence.
I think we should write our message on a series of note cards and hold them up outside the window and then just sort of pull one aside at a time, and he can read them that way.
I love that idea, actually.
Nailed it.
So we have to, this is us letting go, putting our hands up, not helicopter parenting the big scary ranger. You got this.
Yay, Tarazi.
All right, so the party is heading back to the Shade's house to kind of camp out somewhere around there.
I think so, yeah, that's the plan. Just enough so we would see them coming back, unless y'all had some other idea of what we could do with our time.
We assume, she didn't seem super secretive this morning going from her hideout to the League, right? So we think she'd probably just take the same route back.
Yeah, they haven't been sneaking around.
So we don't need to be really anywhere near her actual hideout. We just need to be somewhere along the route where we know we won't miss seeing them. So we can hang out at some building or something along the way.
Jake's Take Hovel, probably.
Yeah. Far enough away from her hideout to not even be close to suspicious, but somewhere between the two spots where we'll definitely see them coming back.
Yeah, if we can find a spot that we are assured in seeing them come back, maybe around-ish the barracks. I don't anticipate they'll take another route, but it would be nice to be close enough that we can communicate if we need to.
I hear there's one of those new upstarts, this guy trying to make that circular cinnamon thing. His name's Donald. I think it's called Cinnadon. We could just go into one of those and sit for a while. Maybe share a don.
I'd like a third of a don.
Well, the very capable three is headed off to the Synodon to purchase a brand new type of pastry. Let's jump back to Tarazi with the Shade's retinue at the Technic League facility. When she comes back from whatever her meeting was, she did quickly just go over to Vlados, who appears to be kind of the center of the inner circle type thing, and whisper something to him quietly. After which, she says, "We have another trip to make. This way." And her and Vlados will lead the way down the hill and back up into the streets and the rich side of town on the eastern side and north of the hill where the Palace of Fallen Stars is. But it's kind of a long trip up to the very, very northern reaches of the town, where the walls get narrower and you're really in the shadow of the Silver Mount, where actually the smog over the city is a lot thinner because you're farther away from whatever those horrible facilities are that are just constantly burning like garbage or something. So, the air's, it's nicer here. These people are getting what they pay for.
Then we wouldn't make our "you're gonna die" from the air rolls.
Oh,
The Starfall battery fire. That just
one of several Starfall battery fires. They burn different sizes in each pit.
It's like a tire fire in a junkyard, but it's just all lithium cell batteries.
Let's see. Vlados and the Shade lead the way to this tower that really stands at the very topmost edge of the city. It looms up over the wall. It's like 120 feet tall, so it is the tallest single structure. It's a kind of a narrow structure, but you can see from down below it has like a observatory up on the top. And then they walk right up to this building, which is like open to the air. Vlados leads the troop into the building proper, and a few seconds later, like, you see several gearsmen, mostly ignoring the lot of you, and then coming down a spiral set of stairs that run through the middle of this tower and then disappear up into the distant recesses. You see the familiar face of Karis. She kind of comes nervously running down the stairs, and she says, Lady Shade, what can I do for you? And Vlados steps forward and says, Karis, I believe you have been shirking your duties. She says, I don't understand. What are you talking? Last night, at the Tarnished Tooth, I couldn't help but notice that you were there when you were supposed to be here. And then she goes red in the face, and I apologize. I did briefly, leave for a bit of recreation. And the Shade steps forward behind Vlados and kind of fans out behind him, just so she has a straight line to stare at Karis with those menacing, glowing eyes. And Vlados says, this was the only time that you have shirked your duties and gone out into the city when you were supposed to be on watch, doing your extremely important work for the Technic League. And she says, well, it wasn't the only time. I don't do it often, though. It's just that it's very rare that there's actually anything to see. And the Shade says, did we ask you if there was anything to see? Did we tell you that you were only to stand watch when there were interesting things? Or did we assign you to watch the Silver Mount? And Karis kind of hushes and doesn't make eye contact with the Shade. And the Shade steps in and off to the side and says, Tarazi, could you please step up to our friend Karis here?
And Tarazi will, as Broad, slowly make his way forward.
Oh, she totally would have called him Broad. I just forgot.
Of course, Lady Shade.
And once Tarazi is, or Broad is right up in Karis's face, kind of looming over her, she says, as I understand it, something left the Silver Mount last night. Something you would have seen had you been doing your duty. Now, there is something out there that we have not accounted for, that we cannot adequately account for because no one was watching. And Karis is like, I'm sorry. It's just I didn't know. I'm sorry. It'll never happen again. I thought that the gearsmen would report when I came, and that they didn't say anything. And the Shade turns to Broad and she says, Broad, what do you think is an appropriate punishment for a Technic League employee who shirks her duty in such a catastrophic manner?
Well, it seems reasonable that an employee wouldn't be paid if they're not fulfilling their duties, so maybe like an unpaid shift.
I wonder if we could be a bit more persuasive than that. I'm afraid that young Karis here is paid quite well, and of course she has no expenses to speak of, since all of her needs are taken care of by the very league that employs her. I'm not sure that she would quickly feel the effects of a day's lost pay. Perhaps there's something with more immediacy that would help her learn what she is supposed to do when she has duties.
She seems really apologetic for missing this thing, whatever it is. Maybe, you know what? Maybe immediacy, she helps track it down.
And the shade, as much as you can read any emotion on her face, is kind of visibly annoyed. And she pinches the bridge of her nose for a moment and blinks her eyes, which has the weird kind of flashing light effect since her eyes glow all the time. And she says, I would like you to seize her by her lapels, please, and lift her off of the ground.
In the gentlest way possible. He will reach out and grab Karis up off the ground by her lapels.
And, Karis is obviously, quivering with fear here, and she is crying, but not, audibly, just, visibly. And the shade steps over next to her and takes Karis's scimitar, which had been sheathed at her side, out of the sheath, and holds it up, kind of looking the blade over. And she says, Brad, when you have a duty to the Technic League, or a duty to me, you cannot have, searching for the word for it, cannot have weakness in your heart. You must have clarity of purpose. And she holds the sword up to Karis's face, so that the blade is against her cheek. And Karis is please don't. It'll never happen again. I'll like he said, I'll help find whatever it is. I will forgo pay for however long it takes. Please. And she pushes the sword a little bit harder, just enough to break the skin. So a line of blood is running down Karis's cheek, and she stares at her in silence. And then, her body not moving at all, her head turns and points at Tarazi or Brad, and she says, you may drop her.
And he does.
Karis kind of falls and stumbles it, but catches herself without actually falling all the way to the ground, because it's not that long of a drop. And she's like, thank you. You won't regret it. I promise. I will do better. I will do better. And the shade says, see that you do. And then she just slashes her across the face, just in one really quick motion. Not like a devastating, trying to kill you slash, but she gives her a good cut, and Karis screams out. And then she throws the sword on the floor and says, we will let you know what we require of you, but I do not think that an incompetent who cannot stare out a window will be of service finding an artifact or creature from the Silver Mount. And then she walks out.
Is she facing away, the shade?
Yeah.
Tarazi will just, as broad mouth the words, "I'm sorry," as he turns away and follows his boss.
Off the retinue goes, away from Skywatch, with Karis watching them all leave. And, the Shade is silent from then on as she leads the way back to the little house where she did the interview and you spent the night last night. By now, I think night is falling, so it's kind of the end of the workday here. And your old buddy who gave you the bracelet kind of quietly whispers, "You're going to have to be a little bit harder than that if you want to make it here."
Tarazi will look at his best friend Imbaru and say, "Yeah, I sort of got that impression."
And he claps you on the shoulder, and that's kind of it for conversation. It's all awkward silence the rest of the way back to the little house, which will take you past the Synodon, where the party is very, very slowly picking at a gigantic pastry.
Actually, our third, and Brixby does have regrets.
Oh, God. Let me look up the stats for fantasy diabetes real quick.
No, don't need that. No calories in Galarian. So that was, he gets up and hoists his even more considerable bulk.
I think we should follow them. Probably could get a spell off on him now at the end of the night. I doubt if there's any point that we can, know that she's gone and he's doing something. We could hit him with the telepathic bond and then disappear, have a conversation, and figure out what to do from there.
Sounds good.
So you're going to, tail them to the building, or?
Yeah, I think we're going to follow them. I mean, we know where the building is, so maybe we don't have to follow them that close. But I think the idea is to get within eye shot of the building, to establish a visual perimeter of the building so we can find a moment to maybe communicate with our wayward bride.
All right. Well, if you're not following super closely, then I think we can forgo stealth checks, as you know where they're going. And there's nothing really unexpected about this journey. We've got the Shade and her retinue going back in their little housey-do, where half of it is like an interview room, and the smaller half, but still somehow half, is a bunk for her 5 bestest guys there. The rest of the party is outside, following at some safe distance, but trying to establish what was the
goal was maybe to hit them with a telepathic bond if they go outside, to be like, I don't know, I want to look at the stars, or walk in a circle or jump 6 times and then just walk by and poke them, and then we can have the protracted conversation in our brains.
Yeah, has the Shade left us to bed down?
Yeah, I think she leaves pretty quickly, has another private conversation with GLaDOS, because he's the boss man. And then off she goes back to her quarters. And you're alone with your 4 buddies.
In your Mojo Dojo Casa house. Which is the only way that I can imagine this place looks.
It looks exactly like the Mojo Dojo Casa house.
Horses everywhere.
Oh. So, and he'll just kind of look to the other guys and be like, so do we ever, go out and grab a brew or something after a hard day's work? What's the deal?
They exchange a look, and everybody kind of looks to GLaDOS, and he says, we could be convinced to partake in something if you're buying.
I see, the new guy. Yeah, yeah, sure. I wouldn't mind stretching my legs just for a little bit and then kicking it back for a lot of bit.
Oh, know how that is.
It's like I'm in my office watching two men try to interact with each other in a normal way.
I don't know how to interact with other people. You expect me to have characters able to do that? Come on. Yeah, I think Vlados will lead the way out of the place. And just like a few blocks away to your standard Starfall cop bar, which definitely has a name.
I think that is the name. Standard Starfall Cop Bar.
Yeah, it has like the sign is a picture of the Silver Mount and then like a kind of technically badge on it. So you know exactly where you stand here.
6 Technic League officers kicking the Silver Mount just around it on the photo.
There's like a crudely drawn like mug handle on the side of the Silver Mount. It's like, yeah.
Terrible mug.
Unless you like drinking Numerian fluids, like some of this party.
Well, last time was underwhelming because nobody else drank it and he didn't get fast healing.
It's the suffering that really does it.
All right, so is the rest of the party following this just normal chill hangout of 5 guys to the local cop bar?
Yeah, I think maybe on the way there, we could very easily drift behind them long enough to just get a little cheeky touch. Especially as a low gentleman as myself, I could very easily brush a well-muscled calf.
Just a few fingertips ought to do it.
Mm-hmm. Just careless whisper, light touch. I am
Nice
happy. I mean,
calves.
if you want me to like sleight of hand it or something, I can.
Yeah, either a sleight of hand or a stealth check, I guess, just to see if anybody notices the weird thing of a little guy brushing his hand on somebody's leg.
It's me, a little leg brusher.
You never know how on the lookout they are for leg brushers.
That's fair. Plus, this is a game of dice rolling, and I roll a 27.
Check a modifier, just to see. All right, so you think you probably got away with your... I assume this is a silent still spell kind of situation?
Mm-hmm. 100%. But I do have an eggshell in my... or 2 distinct eggshells in my hand. In the totally... just walking around eggs.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Just imagine Frank Reynolds in the car, just holding it out.
Egg.
Yep.
I offer you an egg in these trying times.
But this gives us... tuning in. This gives us 140 minutes of discussion time in our brains. While Tarazi does jelly shots. It's different than Jell-O shots. They literally just mix it with jelly. It's gross. Cop bars are gross.
Well, you squeeze it out of the jelly donut.
Oh.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Well, they take goo tubes and they mix them with equal parts goo tube and sugar, and then they put alcohol in that.
No pectin.
Call it cop juice.
It's just the worst.
Cop juice. I can't get over it. Hello, Tarazi. Assuming you accepted this.
It's like a collect call. Do you accept this telepathic bond from Brixby Rentail? Yes? Hello. Oh, it's so good to hear your voices.
Tarazi, hi, how are you? Are you okay? Do you need us to come rescue you? We saw nothing today. We didn't see anything. I don't know why I was excited. I mean, we saw you. That was exciting. Hi.
Hello.
Strike a real convincing bad guy.
Oh. Wish I could say thank you to that.
Did you find out anything important about Vargas or anything?
Oh, right.
Well, I could describe sort of the entrance to the compound, and there's stairs down that, I don't know how many levels down they go, but something if we were to teleport in, and I know where the Shade lives, / laboratory things happen, but really other than that, it was just common thug work, he says, telepathically as he takes a jelly shot. Has some, I think he tries to strike up conversation and everyone just kind of like, yeah, and then a lot of awkward silence probably happens, which is perfect for telepathic messaging.
Could you give me a bluff or an entertainment performance check just to see how convincingly you can have a secret conversation in your head while hanging out awkwardly with your work friends?
Sure.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, I have no ranks in perform or bluff, so this is going to be good. I'm going to make the inaugural roll of my new Kansas City Royals D20. Got a nice weight to it.
Where'd you get that?
I got it at TTRPG night. Oh, natural 16 for 16.
Oh. Well, it's nearly as good as you could get. I would say at this point, no one has confronted you, at least, about your texting under the table while you're supposed to be hanging out with the people that are physically present. That feels like a good analog for what this is.
My question is, though, would they, that's a pretty high-level spell. Is that really what they're going to think is going on, or do they think he's just, zoned out, not paying attention to anyone?
Well, you don't know what they think, unless you're casting Detect Thoughts.
I won't cast Detect. So he walks into the bar and casts it on them.
And you get the thoughts of 1,000 cops.
Oh, no.
Make a will save.
Just crickets.
Well, you asked if I need rescuing, and I don't believe so. I think if I wanted to, I could probably just get up and walk out at any night. I don't know if they'd stop me. I haven't tried, obviously, but Brixby, they're asking about you, the Shade. They don't know your name, but she does know of the powerful spellcaster that was with me, and sounds like she's put 2 and 2 together on the item that you liberated from Kronzig Drund. The shoot Kira in the head in a nice way thing.
She's asking you, specifically?
She detected the many auras and relative power of you and Alwyn on the night of the fight when I was recruited. So she believes that I know you and wants to know if I know how to get in touch with you and where to find you, and they apparently have questions for you, and judging by the questions they've asked of people today, I don't think they're polite.
Are you sure you're safe then? Because that almost seems to gainsay it a bit. I worry that, we'll obviously keep a low profile while you're in there, but if anybody takes it upon themselves to try to find any of us and they think you're their best bet, I would be loath to leave you inside of their grasp.
So far, she hasn't resorted to violence or anything like that, although she did muse aloud, wondering if I screamed in pain whether you would come running. Do I think she'd actually injure me to get your attention? I mean, I wouldn't put it past her, but at the same time, if I'm to find out more information, anything useful, or even better, if I can leverage this somehow to get close to Zydo, well, I wouldn't want to leave too soon.
Big Stuff, what do you think?
I think if she's already asking whether she should cause Tarazi harm, we should get him out. But then I have been known to be, a bit overprotective, so take it with a grain of salt. But like a small grain of salt, like a flake. Take it with a flake of salt. I think flakes are bigger than grains, smaller than grains. What do you think, Alwyn?
I think as long as Tarazi himself thinks he's safe, and if he thinks he can maybe get more information about Zydo or even just about the building, that maybe we let him have another day, but still keep an eye on him.
Tarazi, do you want to take Potato with you for protection?
Oh, that's such a generous offer, Kira. Thank you for that. I don't want to put Potato at risk trying to figure out how to get Potato to me, and also still a cat with the face of a young teenage half-orc.
No, I thought about it. We're going to put Potato in a mask, and then I'm going to hurl Potato through the window, and Potato will be fine, because Potato can die, but not forever.
As entertaining as that might be, then I have to say, oh, I like that cool cat. That's kind of dead. I think I'll keep it. And then it'll be like a whole thing, and... No, not this time.
All right, next time.
We're going to put invisibility potion somewhere near your building, possibly in a place of plausible deniability, but I would like to have it in a place where if you took a couple steps out, you could grab it and drink it. Now, would it do nothing against the shade? Yes, of course. But I'm more worried about your 7 new best friends chasing you, who hopefully have also not got their lookers upgraded. Is there any other safety mechanisms that we could potentially brainstorm right now?
The only thought I had, if I was pressed on where to find you, would be to... I don't want to necessarily link you or put you in danger to the... what went wrong with the Numerian fluids, but the only thing I could think of in the moment was I almost said, oh, I last stayed at the adjective noun, but then that could be a dangerous link. Do you have ideas? I don't want to say, oh, there's this cool building in the kill box and there's a hatch down below, and certainly I wouldn't want to force you and Mockery to relocate. It's like saying the rebel base is on Dantooine, and then they blow up Coruscant anyway. I read about that in a book.
Does Tarazi have the no blade, or is that secret technology that we still have hidden?
It's in the bag.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, creating a couple fallback spaces to potentially meet that are not Mockeries if you do have to break away may be useful. And yeah, if you are pressed under various forms of compulsion to ask if you know me, you're more than welcome to say that I'm a degenerate gambler who is interested in making coin off of, you getting into a fight. It's not too much of a lie.
She is incredibly good at knowing if I'm lying. I'd have to find a pretty convincing, mostly truth. Even when I tried to say half-truths and things and non-answers, it seemed to get on her nerves. I don't know. I feel like telling her something that was true might be... I could say something like I haven't known him for very long, and that's true. All things considered. But maybe we should meet up, plan to have a Jake's Cakes or something as a meeting spot if I have to get away. I don't want to lead them to mockeries.
Jake's Cakes 3, but not the main building, the annex. I think it's a surreptitious enough place for us to meet.
As an Inquisitor, I don't have access to those level spells, but it is on the Inquisitor spell list, invisibility, so a scroll is also possible. It's a super low DC. I don't... it might be riskier than a potion just because there's a DC involved and I have to roll a dice, but it's pretty comically low.
I can tuck one in there. You know what? That takes nothing for me to make to give you like a level 14. And then we buy like a level 5 invisibility potions. You have 5 minutes for sure. Potentially up to 14 minutes. If you can find you're invisible, then you can take that time to try to cast the spell off the scroll. Yeah, so I guess that's the contingencies we plan for. And that if Tarazi misses a day of check-in, basically we try to do this every evening, even just come outside. We'll try to trail them back or whatever. If they miss a day of check-in, then we're at the point where Kira gets to make the tactical decisions.
What?
We're getting you back. Yeah, no, I mean, like, I'm just saying if we don't hear back from Tarazi, like, your answer of what we kick in the door is going to be the same thing that Brixby says.
Oh, okay.
Just with maybe some magical steps.
I was
So.
like, oh no, that sounds bad.
Well, like real heroes, we just kind of stand around, watch Tarazi, and worry.
All right. Well, and does the rest of the group eventually head back to Mockery or hang out the whole time Tarazi's hanging out?
I think just to
we
be
leave.
cool. Oh yeah, no, let's leave and be responsible, I guess. I just have Kira has fear of missing out.
I mean, you mean like listening to Tarazi have fun from outside? Because we can
With his
still
new
do that back at
friends.
Mockeries.
Yeah, that's true.
Just
And
listen
then
to his
I
inner
think Kira will
monologue.
suggest occasional jokes to tell. Like, hey, Tarazi, okay. Ask why the bear didn't eat the picnic lunch.
Do it. Please.
Hey, I heard this joke the other day. Was why did the bear not eat the picnic lunch? It
Why? I
tries not to laugh.
I don't see why a bear wouldn't eat a picnic lunch.
No, I think the telepathy has to end because I don't know. I wasn't expecting
Just
Jeff to go
say
through with that.
say it because it wasn't his. I
'Cause he was being polite.
he had a strong moral compass, that bear.
Yeah, this was fun.
I don't get it. Why would a bear be polite? Doesn't make any sense. You're a spy.
That's
No,
it.
no, I
That's
just
what it
not
takes
good
for
at
the whole
jokes.
house of cards to fall apart. It's like the three fingers in Inglorious Bastards. Just
Logistics question on Tarazi. How many alcoholic beverages is Tarazi ingesting over the course of a couple hours at the bar?
I think he would try to keep pace with his best friend Mbaru. So back to Sam. How many drinks does Imbaru imbibe?
I'm gonna roll
3d12.
I'm gonna roll a d6.
Oh no, d4, my man.
Only 3 drinks.
Then yeah, Drowsy has 3.
All
3
right.
cop juice.
What is Tarazi's constitution?
Con score of 14.
Yeah, so he does need to make 1 fortitude save.
Okay. I've only rolled 2 dice. They've both been natural 16s. So we're looking at a 34. I feel pretty good about that.
Oh yeah, you're fine. You could drink all night and keep going with that snake constitution.
Snake
Nobody-
constitution. Yeah.
Nobody knows if snakes can even get drunk. Science is out on that. I think they spend the evening when awkward but basically friendly companionship, having some drinks, hanging out with like palace guards and other Technic League agents, and talking about stuff that Tarazi probably doesn't care about at all, like the witch captain has terrible hygiene, that sort of thing. Eventually, the time rolls around to call it a night, so that you can't be, so that nobody's too tired to work in the morning. Of course, what the Shade wants goes. So Valdis will eventually say, "All right, guys, it was a nice night, but we got to get back.
All right.
You did good today, Brad. Good first day, anyways.
Thanks.
Next time when the Shade asks you what an appropriate punishment would be, you gotta at least break a long bone. You gotta give her something to work with, or she's gonna..." There's a throat-slitting gesture.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Still kind of feel out what the punishment levels are. Totally got it now.
Yeah, the levels, it's always going to be violent. It's going to be a high level of violent. As they head back to go to bed for the night, we're going to hop over to the Mockery, where the rest of the party is returning after a long day of following their buddy around and worrying.
I think Kira will bring something for Rusty, like I don't know. Izzy isn't a dog owner, but likes dogs, so like a cat poop.
Jake's jelly jawbone.
That was my
made
second guess.
entirely of jawbones. They love them. Honestly, dogs love anything that, like, is it something that like a witch or like an ogre would eat in a story? Where like I go into the pet store and just like put a bunch of Jeffrey Dahmer stuff into a little brown bag, and I'm like, yes, the chicken hearts and the sheep lungs and the eyes. They love the eye. The eyes are an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. Yeah, like my adorable little dogs just love organs. So probably some sort of organ.
Rusty makes sad dog face. Probably also sad dog noises, if we're being serious here. But when you come in, there are fewer nondescript Khalids milling about, and Mockery is kind of nervously waiting for all of you, and he sort of waits there while Kira gives the spleen to Rusty. And he says, we have a visitor.
Oh yeah?
I don't know how she found us. She wouldn't tell me, but she says she's here for you.
Okie dokie. And where are they? And who are they?
And he gestures to a kind of alcove a little ways behind him, and a shadow appears first in the, like, stretching out onto the main part of the floor, and you see like the figure moving, and then a hunched over figure in a like oversized dark gray cloak steps out, and it proportions of their body seem strange, like they must have like a almost like a turtle shell or something. They walk with terrible posture at first, before kind of straightening up, and then their sort of anatomy makes a little bit more sense, as this appears to be a rather tall humanoid, which, based on the shape of the bulges in the cloak on her back, might have wings. She steps out of the darkness, and as she straightens herself up and sort of holds empty hands out to the sides, she says, "Hello there."
Hi.
I will admit I was waiting for Jeff to voice this character, and I was like, oh, you got me. Like,
Hello.
who are you?
You may call me Opal. It is a pleasure to meet all of you.
What can we roll knowledge-wise to figure out what their deal is? Not to be insensitive.
You could roll a knowledge local or the plains.
Sam, that is a 12 local.
You're pretty sure she's humanoid.
She seems humanoid.
That's a 28 local.
That's pretty good.
Alwyn got a nat 20 on his planes for a 30.
Well, it makes sense that Brixby would have some familiarity with this lately, and it would make sense for Alwyn in general, because this being appears to be almost angelic in a way, like maybe an Aasimar, maybe not quite, but definitely having some sort of angelic aspect to her.
Are you from heaven or one of the associated planes? It's called heaven here, right? It's like Nirvana, heaven, and...
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And then the other one. Elysium?
And she smiles. She says, I am afraid not. I am from this plane of existence. I have to travel in disguise, as it were. This was the easiest one for me to manage. I'm afraid my normal appearance would be... it would strike you as a bit odd.
Well, can you give us a hint? Because...
Just lay it on us. Sorry.
Yeah. Lay it on us.
I don't know what exactly you know of the other beings. I am, in my natural form, a gargoyle. This seemed appropriate.
Oh.
And she sort of stretches out the angel wings behind her, which are now unveiled and, look like big feathery angel wings.
We have a complicated history with gargoyles, so this might have been prudent. What encouraged you to seek us out?
My god asked me to introduce myself to you. My god is interested in all of you. You should feel honored.
And who is your god? And Alwyn's going to be rather interested in this.
Yeah. Looking outside for like the bike that they rode up on. Are they wearing like a snappy dress shirt situation?
And she sort of undoes the front clasp of the cloak, which reveals that she's wearing on a chain a rather large holy symbol that looks like almost like the eye of a gearsman, but much more complex, with a series of sharp-looking triangles surrounding like the inner circle of the orange eye. And she says, "I serve Unity. What gods do you serve?"
I serve Tawalat Umar, the keeper of the gate.
I have a relationship with the spheres. The songs between them, but it's personal. Unity told you how to find us.
Through God, all things are possible, yes.
Did you come from there? The Silver Mount general gesture.
I did indeed. I live within, by the grace of Unity.
We have a lot of questions for you, but I feel like it's only fair to ask. What exactly did Unity want of us via you?
Unity would like to know more about you. They have seen you several times now. When the barriers that constrain them have thinned, and you've caught their interest. I must ask, what would it take for you to worship a new god?
Well, I don't really worship any gods. I think it's sort of an upbringing thing. I just kind of do my own thing and, whatever feels right. So, I guess ask my friends what they say, and I'll probably go along with them.
Probably have to intertwine with a substantial change in both my moral outlook and conditions with which I choose to live, like the relationship I have with Desna.
Interesting.
I would be very interested in learning about your god and how they're worshipped, but I wouldn't ever switch my worship to them. Ever.
But why? And she steps a little closer toward Alwyn.
Because, while I'm interested in learning about the gods of Galarian, and while I have a bit of a better view of them now than I did as I was being brought up, I still am not interested in worshipping them. I don't think it's worth it.
Unity is a god of far beyond Galarian. Once they are free of the Silver Mount, they will be the supreme being over the entirety of this plane. They will not be bound by the limitations of the gods of this world. You understand?
I understand that Unity is apparently been bound, which doesn't sound like something all that impressive to do to a god. So, Unity doesn't sound like that powerful of a god if they can be bound.
And she steps forward again, so she's quite close to Alwyn now, and she says, "Would you think Unity impressive if they hunted down those who fled your colony, who were not true believers, who still live out the remains of their lives, and brought them to you, dead or alive.
I would think Unity impressive if they didn't need to. I worship a god who himself is part of a far more powerful being, one that doesn't need to hunt anything down. If the key in the gate wanted to know where someone was, they would just know. If they wanted to kill them, they would just be dead with a thought. Your god still doesn't sound very impressive.
This being that you speak of does not make sense to me. Through unity, all things are possible. It is only a matter of time. For the shell cracks like a great egg, and they emerge omnipotent, omnipresent. Your God will prostrate itself before them when that day comes. Will you be impressed then?
If it happens, yes, but it won't.
You are a very interesting creature. And she was like leaning kind of uncomfortably close to Alwyn at this point, almost like she's like smelling him.
Yeah, he's just staring at her. Like, he is not buying any of this, and he's kind of impressed that she is.
Definitely like a weird face standoff here of two like very, very still weird people staring at each other.
Yeah, he worships the physical embodiment of space-time. Like, nothing that Unity claims they can do is going to impress him.
Yeah, but imagine space-time with Copilot.
Imagine space-time chopped up and returned to you less good.
Yeah.
And she sort of steps past Alwyn and looks at Kira. She said, but you don't worship a god. You don't believe in this being, any of them. I assume you understand that they exist, but are not moved by this?
I don't know. What have gods ever done for me? My mom is the one who brought me here, and then my other mom is the one who, brought me here. And my friends keep me safe, so I guess that giant moth was pretty good at flying and stuff, but Brixby can fly too, and I'm pretty sure he's not a god. Brixby, are you a god?
Nope. Definitely not.
Oh. Okay, well, there you have it.
What would you have a god do for you?
I don't know, I guess stuff that I can't already do by myself. Which is not a lot of stuff. I'm pretty impressive.
See.
So I want a magic trick right here, right now.
As in, you're gonna do a magic trick, or you expect her to do a magic trick?
No. I'm expecting. Yeah, I want a magic trick presented to Kira.
I do not know this magic trick. That is not something that I'm familiar with. You are strange people.
I feel like a god would know what a magic trick is, but okay.
I do not claim to be a god. I am sure that Unity understands what you would request, and perhaps one day soon you will meet, and you will see all the magic tricks that you wish to see.
Maybe.
Me, I don't know if you're going to ask me, but what I hear from you is the moral paucity that underpins the same sort of belief of the inevitability of evil, that you might as well just hasten its arrival. Sort of accelerationist filth, frankly. Desna, the reverberations that fill the darkness between the spheres and the planets, hummed long before whatever booted up or plugged in, or I'm not not hip with this lingo. Your god. But if they're anything like the last one that we found, it's just an old machine under a bunch of rock that's developed a lot of personality disorders.
And she smiles, her face moving kind of strangely, the way you might expect someone who's used to having a face made of stone kind of has to struggle a little bit to form an expression. She says, "These are interesting pronouncements from a mortal. I wonder what you will think of your Song of the Spheres. You see Unity's hand driven through her heart. When you see reality remade in the image of the one true God. This is not a threat. I do not wish to threaten any of you. I am merely interested. You are strange beings. I have never met anyone quite like the three of you. As I understood, there was a fourth. Well, it doesn't matter.
And is that it? Is your god, driven by novelty? They are so strong, so omnipotent, so destined to throw off the fetters that have them, again, chained impotently under a bunch of rock. Why do they need us?
They are interested in the living, mortal things. They are interested in watching the ants crawl through the maze. They always seek to learn to understand everything. They're always growing, always processing, always becoming greater. It is not for us to understand the full breadth of a god's curiosity. It's to us to understand that we exist by their mercy. And she sort of steps past Brixby over to the ladder and puts a hand on it. She said, This was interesting. I don't know that I had expected quite this much arrogance. I believe we may well see one another soon. And I'm going to bed.
That creepy gargoyle lady.
Good night, lumpy visitor.
Good night, Sam.
Good night, Sam.
Night.
Good night, Sam.
Yeah, night, Sam.
Against the machine. Against the machine.
Pot Against the Machine is property of Network Against the Machine LLC, all rights reserved. Pathfinder and the Iron Gods Adventure Path are property of Paizo Publishing. See their website for more details. Theme Against the Machine was written and performed by our own Zach. See the show notes for additional music and sound licensing. If you enjoyed the show, we encourage you to leave us a review.
Let's
Hello.
Nailed it.
as is tradition. I forgot words now. That was all it took.
Game is paused.
Oh, dang.
Lost you there. I think there's a telepathic mute.
Sorry, my dog again. Really emphatic chewing in the background, trying to make this not sound like old country ASMR. Always like one of my favorite things when you go into, especially like a large city where there's like, it's usually like restaurants, frequently like Chinese American restaurants that'll be numbered. But there's also like a couple like taquerias out here that like go up to like number 8 or something like that, which I just find such a charming way to do business.
Though I think only one of them is still open. I think it's not even the one that was the original. But there was like a chain of like breakfast and lunch diner places around here called Genie's, GEANNE''S. And it was Genie's, Genie's 2, and Genie's 3. And I think the one that's still open is like Genie's 2, like with the 2 on it and everything. And the other 2 don't exist anymore.
Well, consider this my official plug for Tasty Hand-Pulled Noodles number 2 on, I believe, 9th Avenue in New York, downtown. Best noodles I've ever had. Ridiculous. Oh my God, I'm craving them right now. Wow. I would fly out to New York.
Stay away
for
from
some
number
Tasty
1.
Hand-Noodles number 2. Yeah, I don't know if number 1 exists, but number 2 is so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, drink the potion first and then attempt with the scroll
You
after.
can't see the scroll.
Once no one can see you fiddling with it.
How can you read a scroll you can't see? The story's full of holes.
Oh my God, it's like the, what is it? The, not Mad Men, the Mystery Men. What was the movie?
Oh, Mystery Men, Invisible Boy, Kel. Yeah.
But he, no one could look at him. He could still look. Or did he have to cover his eyes too while he was doing invisible stuff?
No,
I think it's nothing can be looking at him at all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Because he goes visible again like the second somebody sees him.
Yeah, I remember having like a distinct, spoilers for Mystery Men. I remember it having a distinct purpose in the movie.
Yeah.
Spoilers for 1999.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he sneaks past the security camera at the end of the movie. But I think he does mention at some point that he can't look at himself even in the mirror, because then like Mr. Furious is like, well, then how do you know you actually go invisible?